Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Bahasham meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai is the true, holy, and powerful name of his only begotten Son, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect within the nation of Israel. And Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as your Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the nations where you've been scattered to, but are Israelites. And I also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. All right, this is the brother you call from the GMS branch out in Des Moines, Iowa, coming back at you with another lesson inspired by the Holy Spirit, Habakkuk. And there's a lot that's going on. All right, and there's a lot that's going on simultaneously. And this devil's up to something. All right, this devil's up to something. And, if, I'm sure brothers and sisters are aware that last night, all right, DJ Trump issued a direct attack to a few of Iran's nuclear facilities. And even today or last night, he addressed the nation. I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then I want to play a clip. All right, and the Spirit had me do a lesson a couple days ago, how they're projecting a false FLAG attack, and it's looking more and more like that's brewing up. And with some of this information I'll speak on through the Spirit, Lord's will, you'll be able to see why. But the Scripture says that we need to be circumspect, knowing that the days are evil. All right, and on a sudden, all right, things can change drastically here in Babylon. All right, just like when 9/11 happened, that attack happened. All right, the whole, all right, the state of the world shifted and changed on an instant. All right, just with that attack, or just like with the C-19. So we have to remain circumspect and understand the times that we're in. This is all prophecy. The Lord told us about these things, and he also told us in the midst of these wars and things brewing up, what we need to do, what we need to be doing. All right, as it is written, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. And how are all these things going to be dissolved? All right, as a matter of fact, let me read that precept first. All right, because we're keeping our eyes on prophecy. And as we're keeping our eyes on prophecies, as the scriptures tell us to do, be occupied in prophecies. All right, there's a manner of life, a way that we need to be, so that the Lord will protect us and preserve us in these evil days, man. This is the book of 1 Peter. Chapter 3, 2 Peter 3:11. It says, I'm gonna start at verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and you can see that, man. I was watching a few clips, on TikTok, from compilations that certain people on YouTube, they put up, compilations of different things happening, and Jake think it's a game. All right, even last night, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm at work. I'm excited, and I'm tuning in to what I can, earlier in the night of what's going on, and the attack that had just happened. Waiting to hear the address of DJ Trump, to see what he's saying and what they're pushing out or projecting out to the people, and everybody's just nobody's thinking about it. All right, nobody is concerned, or as concerned. Everybody's going about their life, their business, because those things are happening overseas. All right. And they don't understand the effect that it's going to have on them here in the States, man. But we're getting to that point, as it says in the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, that, let me see, Isaiah, why'd I pull that up? Let's pull it up, and that's why I did that. I want to go to the blue letter. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. These people are going to be caught completely off guard when on a sudden, all right, their life is completely changed and shifted. All right, their liberties are stripped away out of nowhere. All right, their comforts are taken away in an instant. That's what's going to happen. Violence is going to erupt. All right, draconian measures are going to come down. Digital surveillance. All right, through this AI technology is going to come in hard, and a false FLAG attack. All right. Could catapult these things into that direction quickly. But we'll see how these things play out. But we know that they're going to happen. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. and verse because the end goal, all right, the end goal is to bring in that micro CHIP, and that's where everything is leading. All right, for the prior administration through Biden, all right, they brought in all these immigrants. The borders were open, right, and there's a lot of people, and this is all building up into how they're going to use these different things to justify the real strict and severe measures, the AI surveillance, all of those things and it'd be justified. All right. Because there's a lot of people in the States that that aren't being tracked, monitored. Right. This is the narrative that they're pushing. All right. That they're not being tracked. They're not being monitored. And if an attack does happen in response because of these different things, well, they have to do something about it. All right. They have to do something about the domestic T word. OK. And what would they do? All right. What would help, lean them towards that MOTB is justifying it through that. Look, we've got these different attacks that's happening and we don't know who's who. We need more strict measures. We need to know who's doing what. We need to track people. We need surveillance. All right. And this is going to be the solution. And it's order out of chaos. This is how this devil operates. So the Babylon, all right, this whole liberty and freedom that people have enjoyed, the comforts that they've had and so on and so forth. These people are going to have those things stripped away and they aren't going to know what to do. And it's going to cause a lot of civil unrest. All right. And ultimately chaos and destruction that the Lord warned us of. All right. And it's really the judgment of the Lord, the wrath of the Lord being poured out, man. All right. Through these different measures. This is Isaiah 47 in verse 8. It says, therefore, hear now this, that thou that are given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly. And that's how these people are. They dwell without care. All right. Here it is. Your nation is in a war with a whole another nation and people aren't even really thinking about it, not really caring too much about it, just going about their business. All right. Because they can go to the store and, buy food. It's a comfort, All right. They can enjoy certain liberties. As long as they can enjoy certain liberties and have certain entertainment and everything like that, these people will continue on in their comfort, no matter what's happening outside of the borders. Right. But when things hit home, all right, and when these prices go up, all right, and when people really can't afford food and this famine settles in, because all these things are prophesied. All right. Then that's when it's going to get real. OK, that's when people going to want answers. That's when people going to really start panicking, man. All right, this is it says, therefore, hear now this, thou that are given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. All right, it says, the loss of children, all right, in widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection. All right, so judgment, man. All right, a lot of death and destruction. All right. A lot of death and destruction is going to sweep this nation, man. And it's going to hit this place hard. All right. When the Lord pours it out, prior to the nuclear destruction. All right. Because that's going to be the end of America, Babylon the Great. All right. This place is going to get nuked. All right. By all these different nations, man. All right. Being spearheaded by Russia. All right. And even it talks about the beast shall hate the whore. So America's allies, all right, the pride that this devil's been walking in, you can see, all right, how the people's attitude, not only to America, but toward Esau, Edom as a whole, all right, especially those small hats, all right, their attitude towards these people because of how they're maneuvering in geopolitics and so on and so forth, man, all right, they're being hated, okay, but it's all prophecy, man. It said how the Lord will make him small among the heathen and greatly despised. Is that not what's happening right now? All right. People are seeing the injustice and how they're not following their own laws and they're doing these war crimes and moving around and not getting checked. All right. And nothing happens to them. Man. OK. It's like here it is. They're putting out these different rules for war that you can't do and different agreements that they made. You can't bomb hospitals and you can't do this and that and the third. And then you've got Iran in compliance, according to, the different reports. But, this is how it's being pushed out on the main stage of bringing in them being greatly despised. All right. So they've been in compliance with these different things. And Israel and America has just been saying, fuck all the rules. All right. We bombing you niggas. We don't care. We doing this. We doing that. So, they're being despised, man. All right. All this is playing out in prophecy. All right. But it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment and one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. All right. So the Lord is going to bring these different things in perfect timing. All right. These people have waxed proud. All right. And the Lord is going to bring great miseries upon them, man. It says many great miseries shall be upon them in the latter days that have walked in great pride. So these people have walked in great pride and great wickedness. And this is a part of how the Lord is going to bring in the judgment upon them, man. All right. Niggas getting shipped off the war. All right. Just to be bomb fodder. It's going to get crazy out here, man. But anyways, back to this 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. All right. To them that aren't watching. All right. That's why it says this in the book of 1 Thessalonians. Ye brethren are, let's see, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. See, we've been watching. We've been paying attention to these things, starting off with our elders and apostles for years, decades. All right. So we've been measuring the time. So that's why we laugh when a nigga talk about, oh, we could be here 30 years. Well, you think it's going to take 30 years for this war to escalate until it gets nuclear, until missiles actually get, nukes get shot off at America? You think that's going to take 30 years? Nah, buddy. All right. Nah, we know what times are. We've been measuring the time. So we see what it is, man. You think it's going to take them 30 years to implement the MOTB? The way that things is going, bro, is we right here. We at the door. Yahweh Shai is going to be here before you know it, because he's going to come. All right. When they shoot the missiles off, Yahweh Shai is going to be here, man. All right. When all them nukes get shot off to America and its various allies and so on and so forth, man, it says the Son of Man. That's when the Son of Man is going to come and gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. So we right here. They're going to implement that MOTB. All right, but the economy has to collapse, and we see that they already got the system in play. All right, for when the economy does collapse. All right, they already got the system in play to make a transition over, man. So we right here, bro. Prophecy is speaking, man. All right, prophecy is speaking. So all the gainsayers and all the naysayers and or so on and so forth, these prophecies coming in is having motherfuckers shut the hell up. All right. Showing you who the true men of the Lord are and who they were the whole time, man. All right, because what they're saying is happening. All right, the scripture says how the Lord will confirm the word of his servants, the word of his messengers. All right, so the Lord is showing forth who he's been speaking through this whole time. All right, and also, all right, warning you of the prophecies and telling you what you need to do so that you can be protected and saved in these times. But they mocked them, man. All right, they mocked the messengers and misused the prophets until the wrath of the Lord got poured out upon his people, man. And that's what we're going to see happen. The wrath of the Lord being poured out. The sword is approaching. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But at the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And this is the narrative that they're even pushing right now. Of peace and safety, through this damn PR stunt. All right. It's pretty much they spend all this money to just put 3 big holes in the ground. All right. Which had no effect to Iran's military. All right. Their nuclear facilities, they're deep underground. They had already moved, their nuclear equipment from those areas that they bombed into America, Babylon. All right. They already knew about that. So it's something fishy going on, man. All right. For them to do that big ass PR stunt of that, of hitting them facilities, we decimated, destroyed and incinerated, Iran's nuclear and we can have peace now. Nah, this nigga's setting up. All right. This nigga's setting up for the okie doke, man. All right. You're getting you comfortable. Then next thing you know, you turn on the news, man, or Iran's retaliation and their sleeper cells. And that's what we're going to grab, man. So let me get to this information now. So just a lot going on. So I want to read this real quick. So this is from last night. This is from the Telegram app I use to get certain news notifications at disclose.tv. I believe they have a Twitter X page as well, but it says this is from Donald J. Trump. It says, we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace, right? We just read that precept, peace and safety, right? Thank you for your attention to this matter, right? So that was from last night. He addressed the nation, and let me see if there was anything else I wanted to hit in this. I want to play this clip from Full Spectrum Survival. These are a couple of the headlines. So these niggas is who Ryan, right? Now check this out. This dude, this is from Fox News. It says neocon Mark Levin, America, don't you feel relief? Of course you feel relief, because these Islamo-Nazis were building a nuclear weapons to attack us too, right? And that was the narrative that they've been trying to push, that they've got these, the Iraq, the same narrative that they push with Iraq, man, to justify, going in and, doing all that madness, man, So now you're supposed to feel safe now because, he didn't drop these bombs that didn't do anything anyways, right? But anyways, it says, you got Netanyahu, this nigga congratulating them, right? This is when Trump, addressed the nation, that speech there. Slowing it down. Let's see. Iran did do retaliatory attacks, and they've been striking them niggas over there, them small hats, man. All right, strategic, all right, precise. They've been overwhelmed. Their missile defense system isn't effective at all against Iran's, or at all, barely, against Iran's, and all these things is all according to or all aligning with prophecy, man. World War III talk, wars and rumors of wars, right? This is the satellite imagery of the places that they bombed. All right, but let me jump down. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get to the point here. Now, this is from CNN, right? So check this out. It says, just in Iran's sleeper cells, warning, CNN airs on its lower thirds, right? So now they're warning about these sleeper cells, these people that have invaded this country or that are here illegally, right? Of them doing some type of attack, and it could be a false FLAG attack that they're going to use to justify this whole technocracy. All right. More strict measures like I spoke about earlier, man. So I want to go ahead and play this clip. Now, this is from Full
Guys,
Spectrum
this is probably
Survival.
one of the largest warnings that I'm going to give this year.
Oh, damn. I ain't even finished that precept. Salaki, man. I know I'm a little bit all over the place. Bear with me. All right. So, this is back in that Peter. All right, I want to finish that Peter first. Elements. All right, this is back in 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 11. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. I'm going to finish it now 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. All right, but to those that are watching, we know what's up, man. All right, it says, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And what's going to cause the elements to melt with fervent heat is going to be via the what? Nuclear ICBM missiles, the day that burns as an oven. All right, like it says in that Zechariah 14 and 12, from that intense heat, says their eyes shall consume away that while they stand upon their feet. This is what John saw, man. All right, he saw America being turned into a lake of fire. All right, so this war is leading to that point. So it says, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. So seeing that, everything's leading to this point, World War III, the MOTB being implemented and so on and so forth, right? Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, right? So we need to make sure that we're on point and doing what we need to do for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh All right, he said, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, and we see that clearly. But I will deliver thee from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide and the guide of them that keep my commandments and precepts. So while this world is descending into chaos, all right, into this World War III, right, the Lord has told us what we need to do. Stay locked in and focus on me, all right? Do the work, lock in, making sure you know you're on point, you're repenting, growing in the spirit. These spiritual things are is leading to us being covered in these evil days to come. While everybody's gonna be out here not knowing what to do, confused, right? All messed up in the head. The ones that are gonna be stable are the ones that built their house upon a rock, all right, by hearing these sayings and doing them. So we just got to stay locked in and focused as we're watching prophecy unfold. All right, so playing this clip here now. It says attack detected, FBI and DHS searching for attackers here in the States. All right. Martial law on standby, get food and
Guys,
water.
this is probably one of the largest warnings that I'm going to give this year. This is escalating really quickly. Donald Trump allowed our military to attack a sovereign country, which is Iran. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying this happened on his watch. The U.S. military, we went in with our B-52 bombers and completely took out a country's supposed medical research, radiological capabilities, their nuclear research capabilities, and their nuclear weapons making capabilities.
Right, which they didn't, they didn't decimate them like it was said and so on and so forth, right? But this is the narrative that they're pushing. And if that was the case, then you don't need to move any further. If you got the job done, all right, then there should be no more attacks, no more retaliation. All right, we got rid of their nuclear program. Everything's fine. And then even on top of that, I saw that the head of Iran, all right, he's headed to Moscow, man. He finna go talk to his big bro, Big Putin, man, which is according to prophecy. All right, he finna talk to big bro Putin, and they finna figure this thing out. And then on top of that, you got the leader of Iran. He has to sign off on it. All right, but they're wanting to close down the Strait of Hormuz. All right, which would skyrocket gas prices. Like it would affect the global economy, man. The global economy. All right. So there's a lot of things brewing up, man. And once again, war brings famine. All right. War brings chaos, civil unrest. So these things have to happen,
them
man.
out. Now, there's a real concern, and I'm seeing a lot of new information come out on media that suggests a lot of their already enriched uranium and enriched materials were moved outside of the research facilities before our bombs struck. It was a escape mechanism for them. And so now what I'm starting to see is that their leadership as it exists right now is saying that you, America, started this. And they, Iran, will finish it. Now we have to remember the FBI.
And the reality of it is, these nations are going back and forth and everything like that. And like you said, all right, America started it and they're saying they're going to finish it. Nah. All right. See, Yahweh, he's going to crack them clouds and he's going to finish it, man. Them nations are going to be gathered, all right, in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, all right, and that's what the Lord is going to pour upon them, his indignation and his wrath, man, and subdue all these nations. They all wrong and they all going off, all right, and they all going to get judged and they all going to get dealt with, all right, for what they've done into the children of Israel. See, these insignificant people that you done pushed to the side, all right, the children of God, see the Lord, the Lord is coming to see about it, man. That's one of the main reasons that World War III is even happening. Because the Lord is going to judge them for what they've done unto us. And he's going to show forth that, that he loved us. Right? This is the book of Joel chapter 2. Or Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Meaning what? The Lord take us out of this captivity, man. It says, I will also gather, and it's already started through what? This word. All right, mentally, but the Lord is going to physically deliver us from out of America, Babylon the Great. All right. He said he would deliver us from the North Country, which is here in America. All right. And where we've been scattered, the rest of the elect, throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. And the Lord is going to judge these nations, man, and put them under subjection. This is what's written. All right. It says, I will also gather all nations and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. So all these things that are happening in geopolitics with, this nation against that nation and where they're mobilizing and where they're going, it's the Lord that's gathering them. All right, he's putting it in their hearts to do his will. It says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, and he turneth it whithersoever he will in the book of Proverbs, man. It's the Lord that mustereth the host of the battle. So they're thinking they're doing this plan in retaliation to this, and we're responding like this. Not see the Lord. It's the Lord that's making these moves and making these people bend to his will. All right, to bring in his counsel against Babylon by shooting missiles upon this place, man. All right, and bringing those armies, all right, over to the Middle East, man. Said I'll remove far off from the northern army, so the American military, y'all ass is finna get drafted and sent over there to get melted. All right, when the Lord returns and die in these, it's man, the Lord is he's making good on all his word, and we seeing it play out right before our eyes, man. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, man. So the Lord is going to judge those nations. All right, plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. They over there been fighting about our land, nigga. That ain't your land. All right, that ain't your land. Nah, first and foremost, that's the Lord's land, and He's giving that land to His people. All right, and to the Israelites, the true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Not them false niggas over there right now. So the Lord gonna clear their ass out. All right, that land is gonna get hit with a nuke as well. A great shaking in that land, like it says in the book of Ezekiel. And we see all these things right here before our eyes, man. It's beautiful, man. Beautiful times, man, where brothers been laboring, suffering and enduring and prophesying and catching hell and, for decades, man, And now, hey, we see it. Hey, we see the Lord making it happen. So deliverance is right around the door, man. Our work and our labor of love is not in vain. So we got to keep pressing on, man. We here. All right. But like the apostle said, man, Apostle Ramlab last week, he said, look, we weren't excited, not too excited. All right. It's exciting times, but we weren't excited, not too excited. All right. We know when that C-hip gets implemented, man, that's when we can start really doing some backflips. All right. That's when we know, like, oh yeah, we right here now. Yahweh Shai, he'll be here before you know it. All right. So it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. So the Lord is bringing these things in because he's going to visit these nations for what they've done unto us. So this is beautiful times, man. Beautiful times. All right. So let's go back to this. So yeah, Iran, them Persians, you not finna finish it. The Lord is going to finish it. All right. These nations are going to stop fighting one another, and then they're going to turn and try and fight the Lord, like it says in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, man. All right. So the Lord is the one that's going to finish it.
Is saying that you,
all right,
America, started this, and they, Iran, will finish it. Now, we have to remember the FBI is actively searching for, and the Department of Homeland Security is actively searching for illegal immigrants inside of the USA that are from Iran, from China, and from Russia. I put out video 2 days ago of Chinese nationals being picked up by ICE. This is not, folks, this is bigger than you think. They're trying to find the cells. They are trying to find the people who have access to the things that already exist inside of our country that will be used to have mass scale events.
So, there you have it, man. That's what they talking about. All right. They're projecting it, man. They showed you that in, all of these movies, man. All right. How chaos is just going to overtake this place, man. All right. Civil war, leave the world behind. All right. Bushwick, right? They've been telling you what the society is going to descend into, man. And this could be the catalyst. All right. This could be a catalyst. Regardless, it's a major part, a major piece to the puzzle leading into all these things, man. So I want to read this real quick. A little bit out of this from End Time Headlines. All right, so Let's see. Iran has just ordered the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, putting putting 1/5 of the world's oil supply at risk. So that's going to bring in economic turmoil, right? If the leader of Iran signs off on that. Major U.S. cities go on high alert following Trump's military strikes on Iran. All right, so various cities, man, they already putting their eyes out, but they're putting it into people's minds that an attack can happen. All right. And like I said, I did the lesson a couple of days back of how they're projecting the false flag. And, you had Zelensky, all right, project you across the pond. All right. But these things are going to affect you on American soil. It's just roughly paraphrasing what he said. And Benjamin, all right, Netanyahu, that nigga, all right, that nigga BB, all right, he echoed the same sentiment, that these things are going to affect you in America, right? You got them projecting it on CNN like we showed on the Telegram headline, in the Telegram app and that disclosed TV, and they showed you that they're projecting that. So, hey, this is where we at with it, man. It could be all of a sudden, and then next thing you know, man, lights out, EMP, bomb, attack, whatever. This happened, that happened. We need lockdowns. We need more strict measures. We need to bring in a order out of chaos. We need more surveillance. We need all these things, man. All right. So, I'm going to end it right there through the Spirit. I just wanted to touch up on a few of those things, man. Prophecy is, man, speaking as it is written. At the end, it shall speak and not lie. All right. And we're seeing that, man. So, Lord's what I was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and the truth. With that, I'm going to say shalom.